Like with any sort of close, it's cause and effect. So any market that you're working with,
Hmm.
the people, they think the same way, they ask the same questions. So no conversation is new, right?
Right.
So basically what I'm trying to say is if you have a recording of yourself closing it, if the closer that we hire, if they were to just do exactly what you did, it would statistically lead to the same results, but maybe 30% less. Unless they're very, very good. They're exceptional. They will
Right.
match. But because it's your business, they won't be able to get the same closing rate.
Hmm.
But so what is your closing rate? Let's say, for example, you took like 10 calls. Generally, what is the closing rate for you?
I would close maybe on 10 calls, I would close two people.
Two people. So
Yeah.
standard 20% closing rate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like that's completely fine. Like that, I feel like the closer that we hire should be able to match that. So the
Yeah.
guy that I was talking to you about, Rida, I'll send you his contact details.
Okay.
You can contact him if you want to. There's
Hmm.
6 closers that he's trained. So he's kind of gone through the typical sales or closing structure, but of course the context would be yours, as in you would be giving him your recording, your call recording, so he can observe. So generally, with any sort of process, they watch the recording, they watch you doing it, and then they tell you what structure they have noticed, so you can
Okay.
tell that they're competent or not. Because otherwise,
Okay.
because if they make the structure, then you can hold them accountable and say, okay, from now on, every single call that you take, you need to follow the structure that you've noticed myself following on the call.
Okay.
So at scale, any business is about processes rather than skill. So you don't care
Hmm.
about them having too much skill, but it's a process. Because if you hire one closer, you can follow the same process to hire the second one, third, fourth, right? But anyway, let me just send you the closers that Rida has trained. This is Rida's number. I've just sent you on WhatsApp. And then there is another guy. This he's a young guy. Like he's really, the people that reach out to me, hey, can I work for you, etc. So he's one of those guys, and he's been, kind of trying to give me value, etc. for the past years. So it shows he has character and he really wants to give value. So you can interview him. I'll go through what the interview process is. Again,
Hmm.
these guys are just for you to have, from my connections. I have other people as well who have closing programs,
Hmm.
so we can leverage their closes as well if you don't like the ones that I've just given you. But anyway, so process with outsourcing first starts with delivery. So delivery, then marketing slash setting, and then at the end sales. Now the reason for that is because your time, each hour per day, should go towards making the most amount of money. So as in your hour should be spent basically making money, because that's probably the most important thing for a
Right.
business, especially at
Right.
the beginning stage. So you have a bit more, cash flow to maybe invest into other systems, better processes. So cash is probably the most important thing. So that's why sales should be the last thing that you outsource, because that's the biggest thing that actually impacts your business and what the purpose of the business is in the first place, which is to make cash and provide
Hmm.
value. But anyway, delivery would mean, about having a proper media bar. Whether you find, look, now you have experience, you have a couple of clients, you've got them results, etc. So everything's just going to be copy paste. So the same ads that you ran for the other ones, it's just going to be copy paste. So even if you hire someone that is very, very cheap and all they have to do is just copy paste each time for the new client, the new ad set, and kind of answer their questions, whatever the questions client has. So that kind of eliminates you having to worry about delivery at all.
Hmm.
Then marketing and setting, meaning the ads that you're running for yourself, you can get someone to be in the setting process, as in there must be a script that you follow on the DM funnel, right?
Yeah. Well, right now I'm doing a lead form for myself also.
You're
Because
doing okay,
yeah,
because that's
yeah.
working as well. Like lead form, even then you have to call them, right?
Yeah, I have to call them or they just book a call straight away also. A lot of them.
Fair
Yeah.
enough. Like so you're kind of running a VSL then.
Yeah, VSO, yeah.
Yes, you can call it a VSL. Okay, fair enough. In that case, then you've already kind of
Mm.
you know got
Mm.
rid of this. So next step would be this. Now, like hiring a closer, like what do you do? Now, with this person that you were telling me about before, like this door-to-door closer that's taking this one call for you, the reason you shouldn't give them a proper qualified call at the beginning
Mhm.
is because you're basically losing out on the potential for cash. And cash is the most important thing. So you don't give them a qualified call at first. You have them take 10 practice calls with completely unqualified, I meant prospects, not projects, um, and check for adherence to the structure that you have followed, right?
Mhm.
So they watch the recordings, as I mentioned, they follow the structure that they've seen you follow on the call recording itself,
Mhm.
and then you coach them for the next call. And until you see them taking, 10, like let's say 4 or 5 at the end of these 10 practice calls, taking perfect adherence of your
Mhm.
of the sales structure, then you give them 15 calls, like qualified calls,
Mhm.
have them close at least 20%. Now, if after 30 calls, they do get a 20% closing rate and it's maintained, then you just scale ads, pack out their calendar, and you repeat the process with the second closer, third closer until you reach your desired revenue.
Okay.
And let's say, for example, this is in the case of you sticking to this guy that you found yourself. But let's say if you wanted to interview these people that I've just sent to you, you'd quickly either send them a message and just ask them to, tell you about themselves and what they've done in the past, etc. Typical interview process. But let's say if you wanted to
Yeah.
have people, these are the things to look out for. Judge their character, meaning like what's their why? Like why do they even want to do it? If they're just here for a quick buck, then they probably wouldn't work hard. They wouldn't follow up with leads. They wouldn't do much work.
Right.
So you
Mhm.
want to understand their why. So the bigger desire that they have, the better they will perform. That's with
That's
anything.
right. Mhm.
Then experience. Now, this is not really important because the closers that I'm training right now, I'm not sure if I told you, but I'm starting a new offer in January. Um, so I'm currently in the process of training this closer because he had incredible character. He has a big why because he's also getting married in May, inshallah.
Mhm.
So
Inshallah. Good.
within 6 calls, he dialed in the adherence to the structure because he has that character. Look,
Mhm.
I've done it before that, but I did it such in a rushed way that he didn't have much time. But within the 6 calls, he dialed in the process. So experience isn't really necessary, but maybe experience of maybe similar roles or let's say communication roles. I
Mhm.
want to judge if they have clear, dialed in communication and if they're coachable or not. This is very, very important. You don't want them to have an ego. You
Mhm.
tell them to do something and they're like, follow the structure. They're like, no, maybe this could be done better. No, like, we don't want that. We need to follow the process because business at scale is about processes. But do you feel like this makes sense? Any questions about
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Mhm.
like do you think step one is clear?
Yeah, it's clear. Okay. Oh, by the way, can I have the name of the closers? With you gave me the numbers, but not the name.
Yeah. So this second guy that I've given you, so Rida is obviously the team head that he's trained 6 closers. This
Okay.
guy, his name is Muhammad, the second number.
Okay. All right.
So he doesn't have experience of closing specifically, but he has incredible character. So
Okay.
again, following the rule of 10 practice calls of unqualified prospects, it should be completely fine. But yeah, this is the general structure. Do you feel like is there anything else that you want to ask me about? Anything else apart from this as well?
Yeah, like should I give him like a trial, trial days or any amount of days, like maybe 2 weeks of trial a month? Like, how does that work?
Yeah. So with the trial, like I mentioned, it's 10 practice calls. Now, whether
And
it's
practice calls. Okay.
weeks, whether it takes 2 weeks, it's
Okay.
really up to how many calls per day you're giving him. But ideally, try and do it over a week and a half. So maybe you
Mhm.
can take 3 calls at the beginning, check his call recordings. Obviously, you need him to record all his calls so you can check for adherence because
Okay.
you don't want to waste calls on him if they are qualified. So give him
Okay.
unqualified prospects. So you
Okay.
check the call recording, you see if he's followed the structure, you coach him for the next call coming up. And if he seems coachable, amazing, continue. Check if he's actually doing the changes that you asked him to do from the previous call.
Mhm.
Uh, and just make sure by the 6th, 7th call, he's dialed in the adherence. And that's how you kind of do it. Not more time frame, but more how many practice calls you give. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. Sounds good to me. So all I have to do is really just reach out to him, a little interview,
Mhm.
give him 10 practice calls.
Yeah,
I guess that would go to January because right now I have no calls at all.
yeah,
But yeah, okay, sounds good.
yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Because this was Christmas time, and you haven't spent anything on ads, but you still made kind of like six
Mhm,
this month. So that's pretty good. Like,
mhm.
so the good thing is that sure you haven't spent money on ads this month, but you still did upsells, meaning that you've increased the LTV per customer.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah.
That's
There
starting.
was this,
Sorry.
yeah, like the first client I upsold 2K, he actually had a problem
Hmm.
paying me 1.5K right at the beginning. But then once it's
Okay.
actually the guy I first interviewed, I sent you in French. And yeah, once he got the results, kind of like he trusted me, and then he just paid me 2K. Like they never have a problem with the money. They just need
Yeah,
to trust you, right? So yeah, that's awesome.
absolutely. Like with B2B,
Yeah.
B2B is more about information.
Hmm.
C is about inspiration. What I mean
Hmm.
by that is B2C, as in like when we were first starting, you didn't have prior business experience. There's doubts. There's is this gonna work, etc. Things like that. But it's
Yeah.
not for B2B owners because
Hmm.
business owners in the B2B space they want more information. They want certainty whether you can deliver or not. So now
Yeah.
that they worked with you and they saw a bit of momentum, they have no problem spending more money.
Hmm.
So what I would do moving forward is when you start running ads again in January. Now December, like it's known December is like the worst,
Yeah.
but January should be very very good for you because people are motivated, whoever it is, they're
Mm.
just motivated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. But anyway, what you would do is you would start off with whatever you went to 3K, right? Last month you were charging 3K per customer.
Yeah. I was doing that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So 3K, you stick to 3K, and then a month or two later, you then upsell them again for 2K. That means
Hmm.
per client, you're actually getting 5K. So
Yeah.
you increase the value. So you have to sell less and increase the value.
Uh, that's right.
But yeah, are you fully clear? Like anything else that you want to discuss?
Yeah, that's pretty clear to me. Yeah, to be honest.
I mean,
It's good.
speak to these guys. Speak to these guys that I've sent to you. If you don't have the right,
Mm.
then let me know. I can leverage other contacts and get you a couple more closes. There's like a bunch of people messaging me every day. If
Okay.
you have slots available or whatever to
Okay.
work with you. So inshallah, I should be able to give you quite a few people. But these should be pretty good. I like Rida. I've worked with him.
Mm.
I briefly worked with him um, this last year.
Mhm.
So I like this character, his communication, etc. But yeah, bro.
Sounds good.
Exciting times coming.
Uh,
Also, I have a quick question. With these calls that you're taking with accountants, do you do one call closes or two calls? That's the important thing as well.
ooh, some of them actually close in one call, but like most, like 90% of them are more than two closes. I've got some leads just texting me out of the blue, right? They were there like 3 months ago
Right.
and gonna be like, yeah, I just wanted to know like what's your price? Did it increase? Like what happened? I'm saying yeah, it increased 2.5 and they don't care. They're all right, cool, let's do it, right? So that happens too. But most of the time, yeah, it's two calls, right?
Two
Yeah.
calls, like the first call. So basically now that does change things a bit because now you need a triage process and then you
Hmm.
need a proper closing call. Triage is basically asking
Right,
a few
right,
general questions, seeing if you're the right fit, giving them a
right.
bit of information. And typically, how long is the duration between the first call and second call?
Well, I'll give them like maybe 4 days maximum just to come back to me because I don't want them to go to the
Yeah,
week later and then forget. But what
yeah,
I typically do that I saw that worked is some of them actually just we do two calls because they are hesitant, right? So
mhm,
what I do is basically half onboard them so that they can see like I'm not a scammer at first, right? So what I do is what I'm working with is Slack right now, right? So that I have all my clients in Slack. So I put them in Slack. I um I I just set up their ad account, right? I do stuff like this.
yeah.
And then I tell them, yeah, let's talk again like on this day. And they're just ready to work. you know. So that
Hmm.
works also.
Okay.
Instead of just letting them go and they just forget that everything is set up. Everything is set up. They come in. Okay, yeah, let's start working. I see how it works.
Right, right. Okay, so it's not really a triage process. You've kind of done the sales call and then you just give them time to think about it. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Right. Okay, because a triage process is taking like a 10-15 minute call first, seeing whether you're the right fit, ask them a couple of qualifying questions, giving them a few resources to kind of go through, do a second call, do a proper structure on the second call, and then they should be ready to work with you. But
Mhm.
you're saying the process that you follow is do the call at first, give them a bit of certainty by kind of half onboarding them, and then give them time to think about it. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll set up the other call. Yeah.
Right.
And we
That's fine.
just
I mean, also, like Ryan, you know about Ryan? Did you join that call?
yeah, yeah. The automation guy, the
No,
what
no, the
was
guy
wrong?
that generated over 17.8 million in sales. He's
Oh,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I
You
saw
see,
the YouTube. Yeah, I saw the
right.
YouTube video.
I was gonna say that maybe from now on, like you and if you want to bring your closer as well, he's gonna be doing bi-weekly calls from now on. So it should be this coming Saturday, and then of course the one after that. So
Mhm.
maybe you can prepare some questions to ask him because I worked with him as well. We work with pretty big offers, got them to multiple seven figures, 300K a month. So um,
Okay.
you should be able to kind of give you valuable advice to properly structure your calls because I feel like that part of them taking 4 days just to think about it when you've already had the call, that could be alleviated by just you tackling the what do you call it, the objections, the biggest things that
Mhm.
they think about before the first call, and kind of giving them resources to watch before you jump on that call with them, so you can avoid elongating the sales process
Mhm.
4 days after you already have the call.
That's
Just
right. Yeah.
easier for everyone. But yeah, long story short, this is the process. Interview these guys that I've just given you. If you don't
Mhm.
like them, let me know. But one of them should be
Yeah.
able to easily close 20%. That's the basic. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, any other questions before we end?
What's your? You said you're launching a new offer in January.
Yeah,
What's that about?
inshallah. So it's going to be starting off with. So I'll be honest. Like the reason I'm doing it is because one of my closest friends,
Mhm.
um, he's the guy that I'm training. He's getting married. Um, and I wanted to kind of help him start his own agency, but he just seems to be of the mindset that he wants to kind of go into more of an established business and kind of get to his goal as quick as possible. So I was like,
Mhm.
why not just you know start a new offer and have him look after the sales side of things because the delivery is always going to be automated because I already have a solid media buying team that I pay like 1100, not 1100, was that 1650 a month USD.
Mhm.
So they're already doing with the other offers. So they're gonna kind of look after these new clients that I bring on as well with the B2B offer that I'm bringing on. So I'm gonna test out a couple of things. I'm gonna also try out accountants, then realtors, then HVAC. So just I'm gonna go across these ones. If I don't enjoy working with either of them, I might just go back to coaches. Coaches.
Mhm.
And I already have the ads prepared for all of them. So just basically seeing who I enjoy working with. But I'll mostly go after US accountants. But
Mhm.
we'll see. You're more in the French market, right?
Not really. I'm in Canadian, but most of them are English. So yeah.
Most of them are English. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
to be honest, with the Canadian market, I feel like we did a kind of rough numbers. Like there's about 300,000 accountants there.
Yeah, I mean, like there's up. Clearly there's more accountants in USA, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was go there also, but I'm just trying to like get a few case studies here first, right? Before going there. But yeah,
yeah.
I've got one referral from the
Mhm.
United States already, and he's gonna hit me up I think in January.
Hmm.
And so I'm about maybe to get without even spending ads, maybe four more clients in January already.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
so
power of yeah, no,
yeah,
bro. Like it's crazy. Like the amount of
yeah,
people there are. This internet space is a vast market. Like there's
yeah,
no
it is.
shortage. And the interesting thing is, And a lot of people get wrong that business is not about differentiation. There's no differentiation. It's about connection. People might
Yeah,
connect with you more. People might connect with me more, or people might connect with a hijabi in the program more.
that's right. Yeah.
Right? So there's no differentiation needed. Not much of it anyway. It's more connection. Connection.
Hmm.
But yeah, inshallah, I'll keep you updated. And also another reason why I'm doing the other offer is because I want to kind of have that as an example of, hey, I've done it again. This is
Hmm.
what I'm doing again to make it work.
Hmm.
And you can just basically do what I did.
Okay.
I think it'll be a lot better teaching material as well, like fresh teaching material.
Hmm.
Yeah, inshallah, I'll keep you guys updated and I'll bring plenty of material with that.
Sounds
Inshallah,
good.
and so forth. But yeah, bro,
Sounds good.
I have to get going to my next call. Any last
Perfect.
before we end?
No, that's gonna be everything. Thank you very much for your time, man.
And
Okay.
let me
Yeah.
send you this sheet as well after our
Okay.
call. Okay, bro. I'll
Okay.
catch you soon.
All
Okay.
right.
So.
Perfect. All right. So,